Welcome to Surface Pro 3 TechReviews.com. I'm Neil, helping you to dig beneath the surface. Today, I'm going to be doing my review of the Surface Pro 3. I reviewed many accessories for it. Today, I'm going to review the actual machine. The funny story is I actually intended to buy an iPad, and I had never heard of the Surface. I went to Staples, I saw it. The rest is history, right? Well, this isn't going to be your typical review. Obviously, you already know I like it because I've named a website after it, right? So yes, I do like the Surface, and I'm not going to be going into the technical details, how much resolution, how much storage. If you're looking at this video, more than likely you already know it, right? You already know it's got a good resolution, a good screen. You're probably already familiar with the basics. So what I thought I would do is to just show, what I did was I recorded clips of me using it. So you get to see actual real world examples of how I use the Surface in my life. And my hope was so that, one, you could kind of get an idea of what the Surface is capable of, but you'd also would get some ideas as to how to, maybe some features or uses that you weren't aware of or you didn't really think of. And now when you see it, it'll make sense and you can incorporate it into your own life and, let it help you there. So I'm going to do a short little dislike, I guess, maybe what I dislike about the Surface. We'll get that out of the way. It's not perfect, and then I'm just gonna get right off into the how I use it. Sound good? Stick around. Well, here's my Surface. As I said, I actually originally meant to get an iPad, and the one thing that really drew me to the Surface was the pen. I hated those big rubbery styluses, and when I saw this really clicked with me, and then everything else I learned about it. And so the battery life on the Surface really leaves much to be desired. I think that they quoted as having like 8 hours or something, but no, not at all. If you do any type of moderate activity, I think you're probably around 6 hours, maybe 6.5. And if you're doing any sort of videos, stuff like that, it's gonna go much faster. So that is one thing that I really dislike about the Surface, is the very short battery life. With continual updates to Windows 10, I have noticed it improving. Initially, with Windows 8, actually, it was decent, and then when Windows 10 first came out, I mean, it was a tanker. You're looking at like 3-4 hours maybe. It was really bad. So it's better now, but it's certainly not near what you would get with, say, the iPad or something like that. The thermal throttling is another issue that I have with the Surface. And what that means is if you start doing things that are very CPU intensive, and your fan kicks on and your CPU starts getting warm, it will throttle down the speed of the CPU. And so even though it's got a very fast processor, because it's throttled down, so if you got a car that goes 160, but it's throttled down to 70, well, what's the point of it having that ability of going that fast, right? Well, it's the same thing. I don't know why they did that. I'm sure there were other ways around it. I'm sure the Surface Pro 4 will fix that, but that is another issue that I have with the Surface Pro 3. Everything other than that, I would say is. By the way, I have the. This is the STM Dux uh, cover I've got on my Surface, and I actually have a review of it. This has been my favorite cover for the Surface simply because it's so thin and lightweight and adds very little to the Surface. That's why it's my top pick for a cover. But every other issue that I have related to the Surface stems from Windows 10. I think it's a big improvement from Windows 8, no doubt. But, I'm recording this on September 29th. So we are, even though I was a part of the Windows Insider, we're now 2 months from its official launch of Windows 10. And me personally, I really wish Windows would, or Microsoft would focus on the stability of Windows instead of trying to cram new features in there. Sometimes Edge will crash on me. Making web notes, that doesn't work. It's very inconsistent. Cortana, inconsistent. My dad has a Surface 3, Windows 10, and he tried downloading. I told him about a certain app to get. He went and got it, and it wouldn't install on there. And it's like, Microsoft, come on. We're 2 months into this thing here, and these are your flagship devices, and they're not working as intended. So I had to tell him that, yeah, you try uninstalling it, and then when it reinstalls, don't close the store window. Click the button where it would say install but now says open. Once it is installed, click that and then open it, and sure enough that works. But it's like, why you got to go through all these little nuances and tricks and stuff? It should just work. And so I think the statistics have shown that more and more people are transitioning to iPads and stuff like that. And I think they're doing it because of the stability of Apple. And, this is just me kind of putting stuff in the air, but I really think if Microsoft really wants to take off here, they're really going to have to focus on stability and reliability. It doesn't matter how many features you got. If it's not simple and just doesn't work as it's supposed to, it's not going to fly. But like I said, other than those few issues, which they're all things that'll be fixed. I'm sure they'll be fixed. It'll just take some time. I know they're working on it, and I know there's a bigger picture than what I know. I'm just a small little user of it, but they got so many different things they got going on. But those are my little issues. But other than that, I cannot say how much of a blessing, actually, I would say the Surface is, because it allows me to get so much done, and to be able to carry it around with me is wonderful. And so those are just a few of my dislikes. Now I'm gonna get into what I mentioned earlier about. I'm just gonna. What I did was, after I took a bunch of clips on how I used the Surface, I just narrated over the top of them and explained what I was doing, or different things like that, so you get an idea of what's going on. Here I am at my grandparents'. I just came back from my dad's birthday, and I took a bunch of pictures, and here I am, and instead of everybody trying to gather around my Surface, or instead of going around to each person and showing them one by one and explaining things over and over, here in this small little room of people, I just hooked my Surface up to my grandfather's TV, and I'm just kind of narrating the pictures and explaining things, who was who, and my parents have been divorced, but my grandfather, he still is friends with my dad, but he hasn't seen him, or he doesn't see him very frequently or very often. So, plus he's old, he doesn't get out too much either. But anyway, this was just kind of this is one nice use of the Surface is that you can easily connect it to a second screen and use it, just like I'm doing here. There's a bunch of different ways you can use a second screen, and this is just one. Make it like a presentation kind of, but not something official like at a meeting or something. Just with family or friends. Works perfect. Now here I'm going to show you the how I use the Surface as a tablet, and more specifically how I read books on like Nook. I like Nook. You could get all kind of different books, magazines, stuff like that. It's a really nice app. And so here this is one of the books that I'm reading right now. It's called Humility by Andrew Murray. It's a real old book, but and here, I'm just showing how nice the text displays, how easy it is to read, and the Surface has got a beautiful picture, and it's wasted on text, but it does really good on text too. Sometimes the print is a little small, but I'm sure that's something that they'll fix. Plus, on some, you can change it. You could change the size of the text. Some of them you can't. At least not yet. And here I'm just showing on my Facebook page. I'm just telling a friend of mine, amen, to one of her posts. And you don't just have to type. And so many people think of using the pen that comes with the Surface just for using it with OneNote. But I mean, you can use it for any app or any place where you would type. You could use it with writing too, and for me, especially when relaxing or something, I find writing a lot more easier and comfortable than trying to type. And let's see here. I'm getting ready to open up Lynda, which Lynda is, it's a, if you have never heard of Lynda, it's lynda.com, and you go there and they got video courses on nearly every topic you can think of. And it's like YouTube, but it's by people that have been in the field and they're professionals at whatever topic they're doing, making videos. I'm doing one here about on Google and the AdWords, learning about that for a business I have called usemyframe.com. And so I've just been learning how to do it, and there's just so much stuff to learn. But you see here, I got the two apps open side by side. I got the video from Lynda playing on the left, and then on the right, I got OneNote open, and I'm taking my notes as I watch. And that's something that is just so handy, and the Surface makes it so easy to do. And I didn't do it here, but usually I'll move the taskbar to the top of the screen too, and even that Windows button on the right, you can actually turn that off too if you want, because sometimes you'll inadvertently hit that too. Oh, what am I doing here? Okay, here I'm going to show you how to edit photos. And what I'm doing is, you can't see it, but in my File Explorer on the left hand side of the screen, if you could see it, you'd see that I'm actually in my OneDrive. And so I have all my pictures synced from my Surface to my OneDrive. And what I did was I right clicked on this picture. That's my dog right there, Caleb. And so I'm cropping this picture. And one really nice thing about how they've got OneDrive, even though it's not as good as it was in Windows 8.1 yet, but instead of having to download the picture to my Surface, work on it, and then upload that copy back up into my OneDrive, I can edit it right on my OneDrive. And you'll see in just a few seconds, what I did was after I cropped that picture, I saved a copy of it, and you'll see it pop up, and there it is. I clicked on it right now. And even I've had Adobe Photoshop, and while that's a beautiful piece of software and it ran really great on my Surface, I found it really cumbersome because the Surface is limited in space, in storage, and any of those files and pictures, they'll take up a lot of space. But I was running into the trouble of, I have stuff stored on my Surface, and then Adobe makes its catalog of its own, and then I would have to manually do all that stuff, uploading it into the cloud, and it was just very cumbersome. And a regular guy like me that just does regular pictures, this works a whole lot better for me. And I'm sure that's something that they'll change in time. Here I'm using my Surface as a desktop. That's the Microsoft Arc Surface mouse that you just saw me bend, which turns it on. And I have my Surface hooked up to a second monitor. And this is something that I do pretty frequently, actually. And it just, even though you can have two apps open side by side, it's just so much easier when you got two screens. And whether you're watching videos on one and working on the other, or you're doing research, have the internet, have your Edge open on one screen, and then you're typing into a Word document or something on the other. Whatever you could think of, just having the ability of attaching an extra monitor, and you can actually hook up a few of them. It's just it's so useful, And here the video that's playing is one of my older videos about how to sign a Word document. And then you see on my Surface, I'm just going through email as an example, and I got a video running on my larger screen. So when you have a Surface, you could be doing some work on your Surface and then attach a second screen. You could be watching my videos on that second screen. Hint, hint. No, but there's so many uses that I have found to the Surface that I really like it, and that's why I really recommend it. I do in Excel. Usually I'll be working like this in Excel, and on the second monitor I'll have my online bank open, and I'll kind of balance my checkbook that way, which is, another really useful use of it. Here that video's still playing, and this is near the end when I show how to sign it. And actually this was the second part to how to sign a Word document. I called it the addendum because I found an easier way to do it than I did it on the first one. So if you want to ever know how to sign a Word document, be sure to check that out. And I also have multitasking on Windows 10 videos on Surface Pro 3 TechReviews.com. Be sure to check that out if you want to know more. This is just a general overview of of how I use the Surface on a day-to-day operation. Um, how it helps me in my lifestyle, and then you compare it to your own. Plus it gives you ideas and stuff you could do yourself. Here I am at work. I make eyeglasses, and all those boxes you see are lenses. And so right here I'm making an inventory of our lenses, and this is just an example of me writing it down. But I write down the base curve, the add power, how many we have on hand, and how many to order. And here is to this particular company that we get these lenses from. We always have to send them a list. Either we write this list out, or we would call them. And usually someone would write something like this down on a piece of paper using a clipboard, and after that come and take that piece of paper, sit in front of their computer, and then type it out and then send it. Well, here's my order. I come to the top email page, and now I'm going to put in an email. I'm going to just use a dummy email, company@whatever.com. And this is just, like I said, these are real world uses of how I use the Surface to enhance what it is that I want to do, and two other people that I found on YouTube that I found very helpful are Sean Ong. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, ONG. And then another gentleman named Oz Tablet PC is his YouTube channel. And even though he kind of does a bunch of different tablets or computers, but he actually had some really good things on the Surface and how he used it. And both of them were very helpful to me learning, especially when I first got my Surface and how to use it and stuff. So be sure to check them out. If you haven't heard of Surface Myths, that's a podcast that I just started listening to, and they're very good too. Be sure to check them out. And so there I had it. I wrote that lens inventory, emailed it right there. Couldn't be any easier than that. Here I am. I'm editing my website on my Surface. Like I said, this is an online business. UseMyFrame.com. And this website is the purpose of it is so people who have a frame and they're happy with their frame, they don't want another one, and all they need are new lenses, whether their old ones got scratched or chipped or just a new prescription. We sell new lenses without you having to get a new frame. That's the whole idea for that business. And sometimes when you go to the store, they pressure you into getting a new frame. So we thought this would be a good idea. Anyway, here I am. I'm putting on our frequently asked questions, which I'm going to be updating this website from the ground up anyway. But this was I put in a question. You probably can't read it because I see the text is kind of small, but the question was something like, do you accept checks or credit cards? And I put the answer as something like yeah or yes, call to help in setting it up, something like that. But I know some people that watch this video, they're gonna be they're gonna be people that go to work and they have a work where, or a job where they have to take inventory. And so you see, this helps me do that and how it helps me. Some people that watch this are going to be website designers. You see how I'm doing that. Even though I know I'm doing it very basic, but, check it out. Maybe it's something that could help you, or, that you could use in your own line of work to help you. And so here I'm using it as like a desktop. And now I'm going to remove the keyboard and just do it like, as if I'm sitting on the back, in the backyard or something, relaxing, and yet I'm still working on my on the website. Just the freedom that the Surface gives you. Being able to do everything you can do on a desktop computer, and yet still maintain the mobility or portability of a tablet. To me, I just think Microsoft is dead on course. They did a really great job, and I know, yeah, you can't game on it, and it's got its limitations, of course. And I have the Intel i5 model with 4 gigs of RAM, and but they offer the i7 with 8 gigs of RAM, and who knows what's going to come on the Surface Pro 4. But so you see, I got to do my website in desktop mode or in tablet mode, and it worked just as well. Here I'm showing how I edit movies. Actually, this movie right here, I thought it would be kind of neat if I just, even though I've got a whole, separate video on how to use Windows Movie Maker. If you haven't seen that and it's something you're interested in, be sure to check it out. And here I'm just kind of cruising through. You saw how I took the little bar, the cursor there, and I just dragged it all around the video clips. I did that just so you could see how fast that it was handling, that it was processing all that data, because it kept with me with absolutely zero lag. And that's something that you would expect out of a desktop, and that's what makes this so useful, to have that kind of power and usefulness in such a small size. And now I'm just using the Surface Pen, and you saw I folded back the keyboard, and I'm just using it like I would a tablet. And so you're reclining in your chair, you don't want to be hunched over at a desk anymore, but you still got work to do, right? And that's exactly kind of what I'm illustrating here, and I've done that many times. And you see just how there's no difference. I can get everything that I could do with a mouse done with the pen, and comfortably. Well, there you have it. I hope I've given you some ideas, and I hope you found that this little video helpful. Whether you're considering of buying a Surface, or whether you already have one, and maybe just some ideas on how to take use of its many features. With that, I will say that I have heard and seen the iPad Pro, which of course is a direct competitor to the Surface, and even after going through all of the technical specifications of the iPad Pro, I really, personally, I believe the Surface is going to do better, right? And I believe that the iPad Pro, it's going to appeal to a very smaller market. and it's more expensive. It's a lot. People thought the Surface was expensive when it came out, and the iPad Pro is. We thought $29 for a keyboard was a lot. They want, what is it, 170? We thought $50 for a pen, which actually is included with the Surface Pro. But for the iPad Pro, they want another $100. So it's very pricey, and while yeah, it's what they say, you can run, you can process 3 streams of 4K video, right? Which is incredible. Apple makes great products. I think I'm using an iPhone to record this, but I believe for this market here, and dollar for dollar, and what you get, I really believe that the Surface is the better buy, and is going to be a lot more practical for what people are going to use it for anyway. And it's not running is running a full operating system, and not just a sister, which is a very important difference too. So anyway, I hope this video helped, and if there's any ways that the Surface Pro 3 that you use it, leave some comments below for me. Tell me some ideas. Maybe you'll give me ideas of what I can use it for too. Plus, of course, it'll help other people too. And I thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and share the word with others. Thank you again.